Good afternoon, Dr. Ferguson, and good afternoon to our colleagues. Welcome to our seminar on participative leadership. Our team members are myself, Karen Murray, Ms. Tamara Henry, and Ms. Anike Campbell. Together, we will be discussing participative leadership approach. In today's presentation, we will be looking at the main principles of participative leadership. We'll give an example of participative leadership. We'll also look at the strengths and weaknesses, its implications of participative leadership in the education system. What is participative leadership? Leadership theories and styles have come a far way since the 19th century. Participative leadership involves working with employees and different stakeholders in an effort to gather information to help in the decision-making process has become a general practice and approach to leadership. In relation to education, when we speak of stakeholders, we are referring to principals, teachers, students, parents, community, and the private sector. Anyone who has a vested interest in education. Participative leadership approach is based on networks of people working together to manage the institution. Therefore, if we say collaborative leadership, team leadership, or shared leadership, it's the same idea as participative leadership. This type of leadership is the soul of Ghana's educational system as revealed in a study done by Kwame Jaski, which looked at participative leadership practice in their junior high schools and the actions to improve practice. We will now look at the types of participative leadership. In a global study involving 389 leaders from 28 countries, the Center of Creative Leadership found that 83% of the leaders surveyed believe that the definition of effective leadership has changed over the years. A shift in people's attitude and advances in technology resulted in the need for leaders to adopt to the participative leadership approach, which involves stakeholders in making decisions, asking questions, and sharing of ideas. Participative leadership can be categorized into three main groups: consultative, consensus, and democratic. The first type of participative leadership we will look at is a consultative. This is where different stakeholders are asked to participate in the decision-making process. However, the final decision is determined solely by the leader. For example, a principal would like to establish protocols for final examinations. He would seek suggestions by inviting teachers, parents, administrative staff to discuss, ask questions, share their ideas and opinions to create the school's examination protocols. But the principal would make the final decision, taking into account the suggestions made by the team. In a study that was done in Ghana's junior high schools, it was revealed that through the use of collaboration and joint decision making, they have seen a change from one man leadership style. Teachers, parents are now an integral part of the school's administration. Consensus. This type of approach, leaders encourage group discussions about an issue and then make a decision that reflects the general opinion of the group members. All stakeholders who will be involved in the consequences of a decision have an opportunity to provide an input. A decision is not considered final until all parties involved agree with the decision. In a book written by Linda Sorte and Molly Brown, Fostering a Lively Learning Community, discuss the results of using consensus decision-making in her classroom. She states, participation in consensus-making decision empowered my students and me together to be responsible for our environment. We each took responsibility for ourselves by speaking up for our needs, interests, and limitations. Students took responsibility for their education by participating in decisions on how to fulfill requirements. We all took responsibility for the classroom environment by coming to agreements that made it a comfortable place for everyone. She further states, encouraging everyone to be an authority allowed ideas to emerge that otherwise might never have had a chance. If it were up to her as the authority in the room to come up with all the ideas, we would be limited to my experience only, memories, and creativity. And finally, democratic. This type of approach to participated leadership, leaders confer final authority on the group. They function as collectors of opinion and take a vote before making a decision. In an article investigating the leadership style of an Arab school in East Jerusalem, it revealed that principals who are using the participative democratic leadership style are usually consulting with their stakeholders, including teachers. They are taking their views and proposals into consideration, involving them in the decision-making process, and empowering them to accomplish the task assigned. The democratic leader allows others to contribute in decision making through expressing their opinion in order to actively and really contribute to the improvement of the decision making within the school institution.
Good afternoon, Doc, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Karin, for that lovely explanation on the different types of participative leadership. Now we'll have an example of consultative leadership in the form of a video.
Welcome everyone to our new exciting meeting, another one. You're all looking so lovely today. Thanks for coming. All right, today we are talking about the new uniform policy that I'm trying to implement, and I would just like to get your feedback on what you think about it. Over the years, the students have been wearing their uniform short despite the fact that I've indicated the length that is to be worn, which is 3 inches above the knee, below the knee, sorry. So I am proposing that they wear the uniforms 3 inches above the ankle. So I'm just here to get your feedback on what you think of the decision that I plan to make.
Well, thank you for
Does
the
anybody has
welcome,
anything
Madam.
to say about it? Agree or disagree? Yes, Madam Director.
Well, thank you for the welcome, Miss Principal. As you mentioned, I represent the board, and I can say that the board agrees with this new policy because we believe that school is a miniature society and it has to reflect what is happening today in society. Young ladies cannot wear skirts above their knee to work, so they shouldn't be able to do it in schools. We have to instill and practice from now what they should be doing. And if students cannot adhere to the rules, then we have to put policies in place.
Quite so, quite so. This is a traditional Catholic school. We can't really have our ladies going out on the road looking like they're going to a club. Some enforcement has to be put in place.
Principal Henry, I agree with you. We need to have rules in place. And I also agree with you that we need to make some adjustments to the uniform policy. However, I disagree that we need to have the uniform skirt 3 inches above the ankle. I do think this is drastic and unnecessary. I would want to suggest that we put the skirt 10 inches below the knee. I think that is more, reasonable, and that is something that maybe the parents would also agree to.
Okay. Can I hear from is there somebody here from the student union? A representative for the students?
Good morning, Madam Principal. As a representative for the students, I care about their well-being and their health. And I think that putting the uniform so far down, making it being so long, is a health risk, as we live somewhere that is very hot and students can get yeast infections.
Okay. Well, I still believe until a student can take to me a medical, I think something from the doctor to say that it is affecting his or her health. Sorry. This is the only way I will contemplate what Miss Karen has said about the 10 inches above the ankle. However, remember, I've done this before. I've given them how many inches below the knee. Everybody on board agreed, but still the students come with their uniform above their knee. We cannot continue to run a Catholic school like this. This is a tradition. This is tradition. We have never had students or girls wear their skirts above their knee. Why these new millennials should think that they should come and surpass the rules of the school and think they can do as they please. We cannot continue this way.
And I agree with you, Principal Henry. Most definitely, I agree with you. But I think that we can try something new. 10 inches below the knee, I think, is reasonable. Given that there is no guarantee that putting the uniform skirt 3 inches above the ankle will change the behavior patterns of our students. Maybe it would change the look of the student, yes, but I'm not convinced that it will necessarily change the behavior of the student. I think we have to look at other areas that we would want to speak in terms of behavior and attitude, but it won't change the look. It will only change the look. I don't see, but given
it
the
changes the look, that changes the environment, and a change in environment can produce change in behavior. So perhaps this is a step towards a change in behavior.
I quite agree, Miss Campbell. Let this be a stepping stone for them. As you mentioned, Miss Karen, how much inches are you recommending?
that's 10 inches below the knee.
10 inches below the knee.
Mhm.
I think that could work, but I will take it into consideration and we will meet again to make our final decision. Okay, ladies?
Okay. Thank you, Principal Henry.
Is that okay for you, Miss Amoy? Or are you still having issues? 10 inches below the knee.
It is better than 2 or 3 above the ankle, so we will take as much as we can get. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. All right, so I will meet with the other board members and some of our teachers, and we will meet again in the next 2 weeks to make our final decision. Okay, ladies, thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you then.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Have a good day, you too. The core principles of participative leadership. Based on our readings, when we consider the different types of participative leadership, three core principles came out. One, openness. In each case, the leader accepts suggestions on the particular issue to help in the final decision making. And two, as the saying goes, teamwork makes the dream work. This style of leadership involves collaboration with each stakeholders, negotiating the different options and coaching of the team members. And three, responsibility is another core principle of the participative leadership. It requires the management of competent people who are eager to assume responsibility. This means stakeholders are expected to be at a certain level of knowledge and experience to give their constructive feedback and criticism in the group.
Now we look at the strengths of participative leadership. Our first strength is it leads to team innovation. According to our 2014, innovation involves the implementation of new ideas that has qualitative gain. As the saying goes, more heads are better than one. In participative leadership, issues are presented along with solutions. Members are encouraged to discuss the solutions and if disagreed to put forward new solutions to be further discussed. It also improves teachers' performance and motivation, as they're more involved in the success of the organization. They can now implement their improvement ideas and they're involved in making decisions that directly or indirectly affects them. It also assists in building leadership qualities in team members. In participative leadership, different members are assigned different roles and responsibility. There may even be a middle-level leader. For example, in schools, a middle-level leader would have been a head of department. And now we will look at the weaknesses. Over-intrusion of stakeholders in school business. Members may now feel they have the right to vote on all issues. And as we'll see in the implication, this is not always feasible. Diversity of attitudes and beliefs. This can cause the decision making to be longer and the extension of issues. Higher burnout rate for teachers. This is due to the excessive responsibilities and roles teachers now play.
Start.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be looking at the implications of participative leadership using the education context. Participative leadership has both negative and positive implications for the education context. Based on the definition and the premise of social psychologist Kurt Lewin, in this kind of leadership, where decision making tends to be made by a collective of persons, in the education context, not all situations can facilitate participative leadership. In participative workplace, success becomes possible through creativity, innovation, problem solving, collaborative, and open mindset. I'm going to be looking at some positive ways in which participative leadership can be incorporated. Some of these are parents and teachers working together. This is where parent and teachers work together to improve discipline through the school. This can be done by having peer talks, motivation sessions, creating disciplinary boards where all matters can be discussed to ensure fairness. Improving school morale and grade standard. In this, we can work together, teachers can work together, in groups in finding ways to improve school morals and ways to achieve better grades. When we talk about creation of different group types, this is where we make persons get involved. Persons are responsible for various activities across the school and allows teachers to feel empowered and motivated to work, since the aim is to achieve one major goal. Then we look at encourage accountability. We can do this by letting each person on the team be responsible and accountable for various aspects of a particular project, which will reduce finger pointing between them. There are a few others, such as decreased competitiveness and increased group morale. Based on a case study done by Sekere South District in Ghana, it shows 71.70% of teachers' motivation and 74.10% of teacher leadership and performance as they work together in achieving one main goal, leaving no room for competitiveness. Some negative impacts of participative leadership. Some negative impacts of participative leadership involves inhibits swift decision making. Decision making is slowed down as too many persons has to be involved, which takes time in verifying the accuracy of the measurement. For example, if something is taking place in the school, example like there's a fire, the principal won't be able to have a meeting with his teachers for them to make a decision. The teachers would have already been briefed and know what actions are to be taken. Security issues. Due to the fact that many persons are involved in the decision-making process, security can oftentimes be breached as too many persons are privy to critical information and facts that can be easily leaked. Inability to accept criticism and feedback, like-mindedness, peer social pressure to conform to group domination. A lot of persons really don't like to work in groups, and this can be an security issue. Indecisiveness. This is where there are too many choices, so it's very difficult for you to choose. Incompetence. This most of the time leads to the inability to do what needs to be done successfully. Insecurity issues. As we know, there are a lot of parents who believe that they should know everything that is going on within the school. But while the school encourages parents and students' idea, and suggestion, only the principal or the chairperson would have access to certain information as it relates to the school. For example, the location of examination scripts, monies that are kept at the bursary, and stuff like that. And not also the parents and the students would not be privy to where all the monies are allotted. So some information will have to be withheld. This information, most information in the school cannot be shared by everyone. In conclusion, for a school to be successful, there must be good leadership and constructive working relationship among the headmaster, the teacher, and the parents. Participative leadership is one of the style leadership that can facilitate that success based on the core principles